one word I would use to describe my financial life is the word enough. I've always had enough to be able to live a happy, fulfilled life.
Mark, what was your earliest memory tithing to the church?
When I was 6 or 7 years old, my mom made a list of chores that my brother and I would do. And if we did those chores without griping and complaining and whining, which was an important requirement, if we did them without whining, we would get an allowance. We would get some money. But then my parents didn't just give us money and forget about it. They gave both of us 3 envelopes. And on the first envelope was written the word God. And so our tithe went into that envelope, and we would take that money to church on Sunday and put it in the offering. We had to do that ourselves. They didn't do it for us. The second envelope said save on it, written on it. And so that was the money we put in there for savings, and we couldn't touch that money. Then the third envelope had spend written on it, and that was the money that we could spend on anything we wanted. And as a 6 or 7 year old kid, I liked that third envelope the best. I didn't care for those first 2 envelopes much. But the value of those 2 envelopes, the God envelope and the save envelope, was that it taught me at an early age to think about giving to God and saving money. Things that, as I got older, felt normal to me because it was instilled in me at such a young age.
You were a pastor for 46 years. How have you seen tithing affect you personally and as well as a former pastor?
Well, I think being a pastor really hasn't had that much to do with it, because I think tithing is for everybody, whether you're a pastor or not. And the thing that I feel like tithing does for me, and there are probably lots of things, but the one big thing is it gives me joy. But I look around for things that are going to make me feel good, and tithing is one of those things, because I know that I'm helping to fight that darkness. I know I'm helping to shine a light in the world by supporting the Lord's word.
How in your life have you seen a correlation between giving sacrificially and provision?
I can't tell you what my life would be like if I wasn't a giver. But I can tell you that as a giver, as someone who's tithed for many, many years, I've always had a nice house to live in. I've always had decent cars to drive. I've always been able to pay my bills. I've always been able to go to the grocery store and buy whatever food I want. I've always been able to go to the movies if I want to go to the movies. I've always been able to go on vacations. I've always been able to go to the store and buy a pair of shoes if I need a pair of shoes. God has not buried me in money. He's never made me a millionaire or anything like that. But the one word I would use to describe my financial life is the word enough. I've always had enough to be able to live a happy, fulfilled life. And the crazy thing is that when I was a preacher, I would do counseling sessions with people, and many times we would talk about their financial problems. And they would have all these terrible financial problems. They don't know what they're going to do and everything. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, you make 4 times as much money as I do. Why are you having financial problems and I'm not? And I don't want to say anything bad about anybody, but I believe that when you tithe and when you give generously and sacrificially, God gives you enough. And so that's the joy of giving for me, is that God takes care of me. And I've never seen a day when he didn't.
So there's someone out there that maybe wasn't taught at a young age how to tithe, how to give their 10%. And they're maybe 40 or 50 years old. Maybe they're a new father or a new mother, and they've never tithed in their life. And they want to give, but they're too intimidated by it. What would you say to that person?
I would say don't overthink it. I think one of the biggest mistakes people can make when it comes to giving is they get out their pencil and paper and they start doing the math. And if you are approaching giving through mathematics, it's never going to work. Because you're going to look at your finances and you're always going to see reasons in there not to give. Well, we just had that big car payment or that car repair, or we just had our AC go out at home, or I've got that college bill I need to pay off. And so when I get all those things taken care of, then I'll tithe. And God intends for giving not to be a math thing. He intends for it to be a faith thing. And so I would say to anybody who's thinking about it, don't touch a paper and pencil. If you start doing the math, you'll talk yourself out of giving. Do it by faith. You know, the Bible says, God says, test me now in this. And just see. Just see if I won't bless you if you give sacrificially. And that's what I would say. Make it a faith thing, not a math